Hi, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. Um, I hope you're also excited about starting school. It's going to be different. It's going to be, not the same as before, but it still should be good, and it's definitely something to be excited about. I'm excited about working with all you guys again, and I think it's going to be different and weird, but really good. This video is going to be about our syllabus. It's going to be about our class calendar, and it's going to answer a couple questions I know some of us have had before. So let's get right into it. You should have received your class syllabus on the same message in which you got this video. So we're going to go over that. Please make sure you're also still reading the video, reading the syllabus besides just hearing it from this video. And make sure your people at home read it too, your parents or guardians. Make sure they're taking a look at it as well. This is just a reminder that even though this is our permanent syllabus, distance learning is so new and different for all of us that we may need to make some changes. And so just a reminder that we could make those changes if we need to throughout the course of the quarter, and if we need to make any changes, I'm going to communicate those with you via our student view, parent view email, and Google Classroom. So please just be aware that even though this should be permanent and without any changes, we may have to make some changes, and that's just part of how it goes. Make sure you're taking attendance every day for all of your classes, including our class. The district has asked you to check in every day by noon. So make sure you're checking with all of your classes. If your teachers don't hear from you in 3 days in a row, what's going to happen is that I'm going to contact your counselor and your vice principal and eventually district officials, and they're all going to try to get a hold of you and make sure that your situation is good and okay, and you're in a spot where you can learn and receive that education. So please make sure you're checking in every day for all your classes so we don't have to go through all of those different steps. It's going to be really easy to take attendance, at least for our class. You need to go to Google Classrooms and complete the attendance questionnaire. It's going to be really easy. I'm going to ask you, normally it's just going to be one quick question. Are you here today? You say you are, and we move on. I don't know what it's going to look like for your other classes, probably something similar, so please make sure you're doing that for all of your classes. If you know in advance you won't be able to sign in, something's going on, or you got to trade turns with the computer or whatever, no big deal, just let me know in advance, and then let me know what you're going to be working on so I know, hey, this person's doing the right thing, they're signing in the way they're supposed to, it's all good, I'm going to give them credit for being here. And the same thing goes with if you get if you're unable to sign in and you check in the next day, let me know, hey, I know I wasn't able to check in yesterday or 2 days ago or whatever, but I was working on this and it's all okay, and we'll make sure that that resets your kind of attendance count before we start going up the counselor or vice principal kind of list. So please make sure you're taking that attendance stuff seriously, because your teachers will be, as well as your vice principals in the district, so make sure you're getting all that taken care of. We will have grades this quarter, letter grades, A, B, C, D, F, hopefully not the last two. Hopefully just, A's and B's and all happy grades. Our grades are going to be a little bit different, though, because we're only going to have 3 categories. First category is going to be a reading category. We're going to have a writing category and a completion category. You can see those in your syllabus. Another different thing is that what's going to happen is that for every reading and writing assignment, you're also going to have another assignment in the completion category. So let's say you do some questions for chapter 6 of The Chosen. I've got my copy of The Chosen here. You read chapter 6. It all went well, you answered the questions, you did the quiz, great. When you look in your grade book, you're going to see 2 different assignments. They're both going to be called Chosen Quiz Chapter 6. The first one is going to go in your reading category, and you're going to get however many points you got on the quiz, that's how many points you're going to get on the quiz grade. But for the completion category, if you did the entire quiz, you are going to get 100% in that category as well. We're changing it up because we as your teachers and the district know that this is a different time in terms of how we're doing learning, and it's going to be more difficult in some ways. And so we want to make sure we're recognizing those difficulties and giving you credit for just trying your best and doing all that you can do to make sure that you're getting your education taken care of as best you can. So that's why we're going to make those changes. Hopefully that makes things easier for everyone. That said, just because we're making some changes, some things won't change. For instance, we still will have a penalty for late work. If you do turn in late work, you will receive a 10% penalty just like before. That's because, you know, in our class we talk a lot about professionalism, both in our interactions and our work and how we conduct ourselves. And we're going to continue that through with our distance learning as well. There are lots of professionals now, those of whom are lucky enough to still have their jobs. Many of them are shifting their jobs and now working from home. And even before this whole COVID stuff, there are a lot of people who work from home normally. And even when you're working from home, you have deadlines, you have things you have to do by a certain time, by a certain date. And so we're going to be enforcing that during our distance learning as well. However, there's two big things to know. Even though you still will be penalized for late work, one big thing to know is that penalty will only apply to your reading or writing category. It will not apply to your comprehension category. Excuse me, your completion category. The second big thing to know is that normally we only allow late work for 2 days. However, we know that circumstances are very different for some of us and very difficult. And so late work will be accepted all the way until May 26th. That's the first day, a Tuesday of our last week of school. So, you know, please don't do that, get it in on time, but if you need to, take advantage of that policy and get it in and get those points. Okay. This is just a reminder that our normal rules about cheating and plagiarism still apply. Even though it's distance learning, even though some things are easier to share, you still need to make sure you're doing your own work and turning in your own work. And if that's not going to be the case, then we will be following our normal Franklin High School handbook rules about what goes on there. I don't think it's going to be an issue. You guys are really good about that. In terms of communication, it's going to be most of the same as when we were doing in-person class. Most of our communication was through student view, parent view. That's going to continue. However, we're going to add on Google Classrooms, use the messages function on Google Classrooms. I'll be checking those. And during my office hours every day, I will be making sure to make emails and messages a priority. So I'll be getting back to you immediately. As soon as if I'm writing an email to someone else, I'll finish that, then get to yours. Or, if I don't have any emails, I'll be right back to you in that moment. So we can have that quick communication if we need to. Office hours will be completely optional, but if you do want some clarification on something, we're going to start that way. And if we need to arrange something else, we can figure that out via email or the messages on Google Classrooms. Lastly, I just want to give a reminder about all of our interactions. Even though it's distance learning, we're still going to act professionally, both in our speech and our writing and our behavior. So just please make sure you're keeping that in mind. Please also make sure you're reading the syllabus yourself. That was an overview. Hit some of the big stuff, I think all the big stuff, but please read it over yourselves, especially since there will be a syllabus quiz starting due on Friday the 17th. So you'll see that pop up on Google Classrooms. Make sure that after you've read it, after you and your parents have read it as well, your guardians, you're going to sign in and take that quiz and hopefully do really, really well and start off getting some good points. All right, we are now going to talk about another document you should have received. This is our Q4 calendar. First, you're going to notice that checking into Google Classrooms for attendance is not listed on your calendar. You still need to do it. It is very important, not only for our class, but for all of your classes. Additionally, there will be reading quizzes when you see there's reading due. So Chosen Chapter 1 is due on the 21st. You will have a reading quiz. I will make sure to write those quizzes so they will take you less than 10 minutes, or maybe 10 minutes, but 10 minutes or less. That way you can use that for your planning purposes as you're practicing your time management throughout this distance learning quarter. Additionally, I plan on posting assignments a day early. So for instance, if we're going to start reading chapter 3, I'm going to post that we're going to start reading on the 24th. I'm going to post that on the 23rd, just so anything that goes with it, maybe there's going to be a PowerPoint, maybe there's going to be some information. I will post that a day earlier. That way you can have a little bit more flexibility in getting that done if you so desire. The due date won't change, but your ability to work on it will. So if that's something you'd like to take advantage of, great. Otherwise, you can totally follow this calendar. The district has given us some guidelines as to how much time our work should take for each class, including our minis. And I have planned it out so your reading and all the work you have to do should take you about or less than 40 minutes a day, Monday through Friday for our class. So if you're been keeping up with your reading and your reading skills are still strong, great, that should be the case. If you haven't been doing the outside of class reading we've been talked about, it may be a little bit more, but it shouldn't be too much. So please totally use this calendar as a guide, not only for when things are going to be due and when you're going to see them show up on Google Classrooms, but also to help manage your own time. And last, I do want to give you a reminder that just like the syllabus, this is intended to be permanent, but I've never done distance learning before. I know most of you haven't either, so we may need to change things up. Even though this is intended to be permanent for the entire term, we may need to change things throughout our next few weeks together. So please just be aware of that. That said, hopefully this is exactly what we should be seeing and expecting throughout the next quarter. So hopefully that makes things easy and good and helps us do our time management and be successful in our learning and in managing our time and our stress and all of those kinds of things. Before we wrap up here, we will be seeing some updates about the Chosen as well, so please make sure you're looking out for those in Google Classroom and following those links and looking at those resources and documents as well. The only other thing only a couple things I want to say before we wrap up for today is I know a number of students were curious, like, how is this going to work with distance learning? I'm going to have to be online. If I'm in first period starting at 7:45, I'm going to have to log on at 7:45 to my first period Google Classrooms. It's not going to work like that. As a matter of fact, nothing that is worth points that will affect your grade needs to be done at the exact same time as the teacher or anyone else is doing it. You're still going to have due dates, but it's not like you got to log in for a lecture or log in for a video or anything like that at a specific time. So please manage your time in a way that works for you. Now, if you want to say, hey, I'm going to work, this amount of time, I was going to be in first period, I'm going to work on my first period stuff during that time. This amount of time I was going to be in second period, I'm going to work on my second period stuff. If you want to do it that way, that's great. Please do. That works for you. But you don't have to. So find a system that works for you and your situation and the people that you're living with. So just to let you know, it does not have to be synchronous. It doesn't have to be at the same time. Besides that, if you have any other questions, please reach out to me normally through Student View, Parent View, or through Google Classrooms. I'll be checking both those periodically. Then, of course, extremely attentively is my main focus during office hours every day. So I look forward to our time together. I think it's going to be really good. I'm excited for learning with you guys and working together again as we finish up this last kind of weird, but I think still really good quarter together. All right. I'll see you guys later. Until then, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Bye.